Coming up on this edition of Speed Chronicles, it's Daytona, baby.
Zig Media presents Speed Chronicles with Todd Lewis, powered by Rev TV.
Thanks for checking out this edition of Speed Chronicles. We do it every week here on the Rev TV YouTube channel and many of your favorite podcast platforms. Please make sure you're following us on the social channels at Speed Chronicles. All right, so we're done with all the football and everything that goes with it, and that means now we can focus on racing and motorsports going forward because it is 38 consecutive weeks of NASCAR. Yeah, 38 consecutive weeks. And it doesn't mean that Cup is racing. They have an off weekend or the Easter weekend, but there is something NASCAR racing every weekend between now and November. So you're going to get a good fix of racing. But it's wild that they started off with the Daytona 500. Just those words get me a little excited, and I think get everyone a little bit excited for the new season that is ready to kick off. The Daytona 500 just immediately brings up the images of that iconic track, the high banks, the high speeds, and if you have ever had the privilege of standing close by as those 40 cars come whipping around at 200 miles per hour, it is an exhilarating feeling that you will never experience anywhere else. Well, I shouldn't say that because it's pretty cool when you're doing it at Indianapolis or another high-speed track. Anyway, it's very cool at Daytona. So, of course, it's the Cup Series that has the culmination of the big weekend with the 500 on Sunday. We've got trucks, we've got Xfinity Series, and, of course, we've got the ARCA Series that's happening as well at Daytona this weekend. So a few things about NASCAR as we get set to get going for 38 consecutive weekends. It's nice. It's great to have it back. But in the not too distant future, there are going to be a lot of people thinking, oh man, this is a grind. And imagine if you, as a spectator, as a fan, as an enthusiast, think, oh, here we go again. It's another weekend, and just kind of you get into the churn of the season and the grind. Imagine how those teams feel. Imagine how those drivers and teams and personnel feel who actually have to travel each weekend to a different event. It is a grind and it is taxing. Don't see it changing anytime soon, but that's part of the fun as well. We have the unique qualifying procedure at Daytona where they don't lock in the entire field. I still miss the duels, though, and how they used to run. I don't mean to sound like the old guy, and I remember in my day how things were, but I miss the drama of the duels that take place on Thursday. Remember when they used to only qualify the front row, pole sitter and outside of front row, and the duels were meant for qualifying, and the rest of the field found their qualifying positions through the duels, and then, of course, through the convoluted system if you didn't make it through the duels. But it was a wonderful, exciting, dramatic event to watch those duels every year. And wouldn't it be so terrible if we had drivers do that? I know the charter system was brought in to assure sponsors that they would get in the races and stuff, but couldn't we just do it for one race, the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year? Couldn't you have to qualify your way in? Wouldn't prevent anybody from trying. The open cars can still come, but the those that run every week in the charters have an advantage of cost and routine that are stable. But I think it would be great. They did it with the Indianapolis 500 and IndyCar bringing in their charters this year. You still have to qualify to get into the race. And if one of the regulars actually misses the race, as has happened a few times in the Indianapolis 500 and going way back in terms of NASCAR, it only adds to the excitement and the drama of the event of the duels and the event itself. There's a chance that you could miss. It's rare. It doesn't happen very often, but there is still the chance that you could miss. Okay, a couple other things from NASCAR as it gets set to roll this weekend. Helio Castroneves is going to race. He's going to be in the Daytona 500. He's going to try and qualify with all the rest of the open cars, but the new Provisional for an outside racer who has some talent and has proven he has some ability and that we want to get into the show no matter what because we think it's good for business, we'll get him in. That's not exactly what it's called, of course, but I'm kind of mixed on it. I get it. It's going to be great to have Helio in the race because of the attention that he brings. It's not that much different from the Champions Provisional that they used to have in NASCAR that kept Darrell Waltrip racing for so many years. It's okay, I guess, as long as it doesn't get abused We'll see how it moves going forward. New TV partners for NASCAR this year. The lawsuit is going to continue to linger in the background in terms of antitrust. NASCAR is looking at more international expansion. They have let the cat out that they would consider taking in a private equity partner. Now, these stories don't come out at this time, just because. They are, I won't say leaked, but they are planned to come out at a certain time. It's the way to help generate interest and focus on the new season. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But the excitement of Daytona and all that goes with it, super fun. The 500, of course, Xfinity, and the truck race and the ARCA race as well, with a bunch of Canadians in it. So if you have the time and want to watch something fun, if you missed it, because NASCAR, the season, as we mentioned, is starting to churn, and they had their Hall of Fame induction ceremonies just a while back. Carl Edwards' speech after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's worth 20 minutes of your time. If you don't know, or you might be interested in seeing what that looks like, it was something. It was very emotional and very from the heart, and I think it was well worthwhile, and it was a really terrific speech. And I don't know if he'd be interested in it, but if any of the TV partners could get Carl Edwards to come on board and be a part of their coverage, I think that would be a plus for them. I think it would be a plus for the series. The new F1 movie trailer has been released over the last couple of days. It's coming out this summer. I'm curious about it. I'm not excited necessarily, but I am curious about it. Let's see how it goes. And what I think that some are missing is that the story is the key. A lot of people are focusing on, they had 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 cameras on the cars, and they did it at actual events. And that's great to try to get the realism of it. But if the story sucks, then the movie ain't going to be any good. Remember Ford versus Ferrari? Terrific movie. Yes. Good action scenes on track? Good story. Rush. Good story. Yeah, there was drama in the story. That's the key part to the movie. We'll see if that happens or not. Mentioned IndyCar quickly in the 500 in the qualifying process. Their season gets underway in just a couple of weeks' time. Looking forward to getting back to St. Petersburg, the season opening event at the streets of St. Petersburg. It's everybody's a little giddy about this series as well because of the Fox TV commercials that have come out promoting the drivers in a very fun, very interesting way. It's great. I'm glad that Fox is involved with it and pushing this out and trying to promote the series as best they can. But again, this is a huge step in the right direction to properly push the series and promote it. Again, here's the key though, from the TV presentation standpoint. What kind of presentation are we going to get? Is it going to look different? Is it going to be heavily influenced by the Indianapolis production that has done this for years and years and years? And let's just say they're not exactly the most innovative. Or are we going to get a bold new Fox look? This is what's important, how it's presented to the fans. Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell are back as analysts. The new lead voice is Will Buxton. There's a bold choice. He wanted to do it, been involved with Formula One for so many years. He's passionate about it. All right, let's see who else is on the show. That's going to be an important part of it as well. What's the look? What's the feel? What's the presentation? Is it going to be the same old, or are we going to see some things that are different? I do hope that we see some things that are different. And just because they want to make a little news, a couple of weeks before the start of the season, IndyCar punts president Jay Fry and replaces him with Indianapolis Motor Speedway president Doug Boles. This is interesting to say the least. So here's a read on this. Jay was a competent manager, very well liked, and for what he'd done with IndyCar for the last decade. He did a good job. He managed and navigated a lot of things that needed to be dealt with. Doug Boles is a beloved figure in Indianapolis, and they want to see him do some of the things that he has done with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the IndyCar series. If it works, it's great, but a couple of things. As many have said, me included, this series has been far too focused on the Indianapolis 500 for almost forever. That is your cornerstone. I get it. It is not your only race. You have to put more emphasis and push and promotion behind the other events on the season. Maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. One thing in the announcement and the conversation with a select few members of the media who were invited to participate, let's just say mostly friendly, one of the key things in the media briefing, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway needs a healthy IndyCar series to have long-term success. That is 100% right. They need the series to succeed long-term and flourish so that the 500 remains the cornerstone event and one of the biggest events in the world. Not just the racing world, but in the world. Maybe we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's very interesting that they did it just before the start of the season, only a couple of weeks out. But racing's back, NASCAR's back. It's Daytona, baby. We're looking forward to it. And we'll be back with another edition of Speed Chronicles next week. Please like and subscribe. Follow on your favorite podcast platform, as well as the Rev TV YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on the socials. See you next week.